So I just watched Ant-Man 3 and it was terrible. The Ant-Man movies are some of my better liked MCU movies, all things considered, even if they're kind of forgettable. They're the ones I've had the most fun with and are harmless enough that they rank up there. This wasn't one of them. Why is Shang-Chi the best MCU movie of this phase? Okay, so this movie starts with Ant-Man writing a book about his adventures as an Avenger, and everyone thinks he's cool because he saved the universe and he's Ant-Man or whatever. But as he's reading his book to a bunch of children, he gets a call from jail because his daughter is locked up. Why? Because she shrunk a police car because they threw tear gas at a peaceful protest. Oh boy. We also never learned what that protest was, so it was just there to shove in a cab for the first 5 minutes. Anyway, Scott and Hope take Cassie home, and in the car ride, she bitches to her dad for not helping more people, even though he, saved the world. Why did they make Cassie a bitch in this movie? I get that she's supposed to be an angsty teenager, but why? This isn't funny, and it's not clever. It's just dumb. Anyway, they get back to Hank's house, which is not on the beach like it was at the end of the second movie. Here it's revealed that Cassie is apparently a super smart scientist who can make things that go to the quantum realm. First off, why? She's like a teenager. She's like 16. How does she know how to do this? Tony Stark spent years working on stuff, but she can just build this while everyone was gone in Endgame? Who wrote this and why? Also, you remember the quantum realm, right? The thing that is wildly inconsistent between Ant-Man 2 and Endgame? Well, it's once again incredibly inconsistent in this film. So Hank's wife from the second movie says they need to turn the thingy off because the quantum realm is bad or something, and she won't say why. And then a wormhole opens and everyone gets sucked in, including a bunch of super smart ants, and now they're all in the quantum realm, and it looks nothing like it looked like in Ant-Man 2 and 1. Okay, pause everything. So Hank's wife and Ant-Man 2 was willing to help them explore and map out the quantum realm, which was just this big floating bubble thing with a few insect-like things. Now, she's not only incredibly reserved about the place, but it's also apparently home to like a bajillion different species with an economy and government. Okay, sure, whatever. Guess no one knows the rules they've set for this thing anymore. I thought the whole point of it was that time just worked differently. Why is there a whole civilization down here? Why was she willing to help Scott explore it in the last movie when she's not even telling them about it now? I don't know because the writers don't. This is just great. So they end up in this alien-looking planet thing, and that's where we spend the rest of the movie. Scott and Cassie end up getting captured by these rebel guys, and Hank, Hope, and his wife go to this desert place. Scott and Cassie have to drink this red cum from this being made of red cum, and after they drink his semen, they can understand everyone now. This one black guy comes out and reads their mind, and then the leader lady is like, "You need to go, the Conqueror wants you," and Scott's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then we go back to Hank's crew in the desert where his wife stabs a dude, and everyone laughs. The dude's okay, and as an act of respect, I guess, he gives them this stingray-looking thing that they can just use to fly, and they go to a city. At this city, they go to a bar where they order red cum, and they can now understand everyone. Remember, people, always swallow. Spitters are quitters. Hank's wife says she has a contact here that can help them, and that contact is Bill Murray. What? Okay, sure, I guess. Apparently his character is like a king or something, but he literally never gets mentioned again after this scene. His only contribution to the movie is implying that he fucked Hank's wife when she was stuck down here. So then we go back to Scott, where the village they're at gets attacked by these blue soldiers who sound like battle droids from Clone Wars, but are apparently organic. A big fight happens, and Cassie's like, "Daddy, we need to save them!" And Scott's like, "The hell with that, we need to get out of here." And then they join the fight, because Cassie has an ant person suit for some reason. No idea why, she just does. So she punches some bad guys who are trying to capture Leader Lady, and then Scott's like, "No, here's how you do it," and they spend like a minute on the scene with Scott trying to show Cassie how to punch in the middle of a war zone. And she gets all bitchy with him for teaching her how to fight? What the fuck is going on? So then we go back to the bar and it's revealed Bill is working for the bad guy and these blue soldiers come in and Hank and crew escape by stealing Bill's ship and they fly away like nothing happened. No one chases them, they just fly away and everything's okay. So we cut back to the village where Scott and Cassie are captured by a mechanical being that's none other than Darren from the first movie. You remember Darren, right? The guy who had the yellow jacket suit? The guy who wasn't even so much as mentioned in the second movie? The guy who literally no one remembered his name until they said it in this movie? Yeah, he's here and he's just a giant face because that's supposed to be funny, I guess. He looks like that one guy from Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Okay, so real fast, I actually think this movie, for the most part, actually has pretty decent CGI, except for Darren, who looks like genuine shit and is incredibly unfunny. I have no idea why they did this, and I severely hope everyone who okayed this abomination is suffering from debilitating brain cancer. So then we cut back to Hank and crew, and his wife is finally telling them her tragic story. So I forgot to mention this, but that's because this scene was entirely forgettable, but the movie actually starts with a 39-second opening of Hank's wife saving the bad guy from these slug things, and for some reason the movie really wants us to have his turn to be a bad guy's surprise or something. Anyway, the backstory is he was stranded there like her, and she helped him repair his spaceship thing that allows him to conquer all the galaxies in the multiverse, because we're still trying to do a multiverse thing. And apparently his ship is Neuralink, so anyone who touches it knows what he's thinking. Why? Why is that how his ship is? Who the fuck designed that? Why would he let her anywhere near the ship if it's hiding his deep dark secrets? You know, someone was paid to write this shit, and as an amateur writer, it really bothers me that this is getting mainstream notice and some legitimately good stuff isn't. So she uses the growing weapon things, which I thought were invented in Antman 1, which is why they didn't use them on the nuke in Antman 2, which is why she's in the quantum realm in the first place. But anyway, it breaks the engine thingy that bad guy Kang needs, and then she ends up escaping the place later. We cut to Kang's fortress, which is where he's holding prisoners for some reason. Darren comes back and is not funny, and then Kang comes in and uses the force to choke Cassie and makes Scott help him shrink his thingy so he can fix it. Okay, sure. I thought the thing exploded. How is shrinking it going to make it fixed? So Scott does, and while he's there, a bajillion clones of himself pop out, and that's because he's in something called a probability storm. Sure, whatever you say, movie. He uses the clones to get to the thing, but his grow grenades don't work, and then Hope shows up randomly, and they work together and make the thing grow. They take the weapon back to Kang, and to no one's surprise, Kang betrays Scott, and then we get ready for the final battle. Honestly, this movie is really boring, but it moves really fast. Like, barely anything happens in the scenes, but they go by fast enough, so it's fine, I guess. Also, credit where credit is due, the scene with all the clones is actually pretty visually impressive. I actually really liked this scene, and I wish the movie had more of this. So Hank goes and gathers the ants that traveled with them while his wife is taken hostage, and Cassie is rescuing the other hostages, and then Darren kills a bunch of them, then chases Cassie around instead of killing her. Cassie and Leader Lady regroup, and they rally everyone on the planet to fight in what is literally the worst rally speech I've ever heard. It's basically, my dad says to look out for the little guy, and that's us, so come fight. And everyone's like, oh shit, we can do that? And they do. So, I'm sure you're wondering, what's Kang's plan? I don't know, because the writers don't either. Apparently he wants to destroy all other planets and timelines and universes, but he was banished to the quantum realm by other versions of him that also want to destroy all other planets and universes. What? So apparently, the Kang in this movie is going around killing everyone to stop the other Kangs from killing everyone. Who the fuck wrote this script? Okay, to be fair, I might have fallen asleep for a second or two, but honestly, after saying this out loud, this feels right. So then a huge battle happens and Kang's army is overwhelmed by a plucky band of rebels. Wow, what was he planning on doing if he had to fight a military with guns? Because the rebels' weapons are just these sticks and swords. Wait, hold on, how did he get these people? Where did he get his army from? Are they people from the quantum realm? If they are, why are they working for him? Yeah, he's powerful, but he's not invincible, so I don't buy they worked with him because he's strong. What's enticing his soldiers to fight for him? Who knows, because the writers sure don't. So then there's a big fight, and Ant-Man goes super big because apparently he can just do that and doesn't get sick like he used to anymore, and destroys a bunch of stuff, trying to find Cassie, who's fighting Darren, and she beats Darren by going big and telling Darren to not be a jerk anymore, and Darren's like, oh, okay. Fuck you, movie, that's not how morality works. So then Leader Lady leads a forward assault, and the black guy who can read minds reads the mind of a blue soldier who has the code to activate the bridge. And then all the rebels charge across the bridge, and the seaman guy gets riddled with laser bolts. I didn't mention this earlier, but he has this running joke about how he doesn't have any holes, and after he gets riddled with laser blasts, he proudly exclaims he has holes now and devours the soldiers. So then Ant-Man destroys all the enemy turrets. Apparently the Ant-Man suit can survive lasers despite having been made to counter Russian bullets during the Cold War. Who knew? This prompts Kang to join the battle where he ganks all the rebels until Ant-Man fights him and he survives a direct laser beam to the chest despite the fact that everyone else touched by it disintegrates. Anyway, Kang beats him, but before he can kill him, Hank arrives with ant reinforcements and the ants are massive and have laser beams too. Then the ants maul Kang. Not to death sadly, but they maul him. And while they're doing that, Hank's like, you know, we could take some socialism cues from the ants because they're socialists and they're able to do stuff together because they're socialists. It's not clever or funny. And of course the people who wrote this don't know how ants work. First, they're insects, so they don't have an ideology, they follow survival instincts. But even if they did, ants are a hive mind, for the most part. They have different species that do specific things. Third, they have a queen and are expected to die for the colony. That's not socialist. Ants serve the colony and by extension the queen. They don't have their own voice. They don't get a say in what does or does not happen in the colony. Anyway, the leader lady and the surviving rebels fight the last of the soldiers while the humans try to leave. But then Kang shows up out of nowhere and fights Scott, who elects to stay behind and hold him back until the portal closes. In this whole fight, I'm just wondering, why doesn't he just run through the portal since he's apparently super strong and he's already beating Ant-Man? Why is he just hanging around to gloat? Why not just run through the portal and then beat the other two guys that are over there? Instead, Hope comes out and ambushes him from behind, and then the portal closes, and Kang dies, and then Cassie reopens the portal somehow, and everyone goes home and lives happily ever after until the end credits, which shows a bajillion Kangs just hanging out, circle-jerking each other because they're apparently the next Thanos or something. So that was Ant-Man 3. It's a big mess. I mean, to be fair, it does look pretty good, and I liked the setup for the world, but why was it an Ant-Man movie? Maybe it's accurate to the comics. I doubt it, but this movie could have easily been a sci-fi movie, and with a few tweaks, could have been, a generic sci-fi franchise, but still a sci-fi franchise. But instead, Ant-Man's in it for some reason, and it's as fish out of water as it can. Something I didn't mention is that the characters in this movie are just awful. Everyone's a pretentious, judgmental asshole for no reason at all. Cassie's mad at her dad for not helping more people after he saved the world several times. Hope's mom gets incredibly mad when her family tries to get important information out of her. Hope and Scott have no chemistry at all in this movie. Hank doesn't do anything and his wife is just there. Bill Murray is in this movie for no other reason other than being in the movie. Kang is stupid and I have no idea how he's supposed to be a threat at all, seeing as a rebellion of swords and sticks beats his massive army. Nor do his motivations make any sense at all, seeing as there's an entire army of Kangs waiting to attack, and their motivations also make no sense. I cannot see anything good coming from the next phase of the MCU. Just stop. Just stop watching these movies.